What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Knick Central. And that game aggravated me to no end because of the fact that, one, they lost. Two, this is just another game where, again, injuries just kill them. And the fact that they are not healthy is it's just killing this team time and time again. And I'm hoping that it won't hurt them too much down the road because I'd really like them to have home court in terms of the playoffs when it comes to that time. But if they don't get healthy soon, it's going to be a problem because Isaiah Hartenstein did not play in this game because he left last game, as we know, with an Achilles injury. And now it seems like he's going to miss time. I don't know how much time, but he missed tonight, and he was sorely missed in this game for sure. We're going to talk about the game, though. Before we do, leave a like on the video if you do enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Knicks fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live. But it's just the thing that annoyed me the most is the fact that it wasn't just missing Hartenstein, though. Like, as much as Hartenstein was missed, there were other issues in this game. The lack of ability to hit a three in the second half was very apparent. It took them until under 5 minutes in the fourth quarter for Jalen Brunson to hit a three. Then Alec Burks would go off for a couple threes in his Knicks somewhat debut, a return debut, whatever you want to call it. But it took until very late in the quarter for them to get any clutch shooting, and it was well out of reach the game at that point that it didn't really matter. You thought maybe with some of the Burks threes they could pull back in, but it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough, and that's due to the fact that they just simply weren't hitting their shots beforehand. The Pacers were abusing them in the paint all night long because of the fact that Hartenstein wasn't there. They had no rim protection at all. They finished the game with pretty much no block. They had 4 blocks on the night total. That's just not going to cut it. And Miles Turner, I mean, he just had it way too easy. He just had it way too easy. He had 23 points on the night. He was the top scorer for the Pacers tonight. It wasn't going to happen. And Taj Gibson, I know we love him for the vibes, but man, he was just doing cardio out there. No points for him. He wasn't getting a lot of boards, and that was another issue for the Knicks, is the fact that their offense was very one and done in this game. There was really not a lot of second chances, and when they did, they were just struggling too much in this game. Jalen Brunson had 39 points. He definitely had a solid game throughout the night, and it sucks that a lot of his points came late, especially when the game was out of reach, but he still put up a very respectable game. Dante DiVincenzo, he's been good all season long. Definitely a little bit more of a down game for him, though, from what we've seen recently, which does kind of suck, but it was going to happen. He was 2 for 9 from downtown, which is just not going to cut it, and he had 14 points on the night. It just wasn't going to cut it. And then Bojan Bogdanovic, I'm happy that he's a Knick, but I'm pretty sure all of his points were in the first half of the game. That's not going to cut it either. And, something that I was really happy about at the end of the second quarter, and I have it here written, is how much I loved seeing the scoring depth from this bench, from Burks coming in, from Bogdanovic coming in, both of them coming in, and it made a difference in the scoring. And all of a sudden, it just evaporated towards the end of the game. Just with the entire team, though. Josh Hart didn't contribute. He didn't make a single three. Only 4 points for him on the night. A -20 as well. I want to vomit. Josh Hart needed to be way better tonight as well. And then, like I said, I mean, Taj Gibson didn't give much. Not that you're expecting to, but that's just what happens when you're down centers and you have to sign Taj Gibson to another 10-day contract. There was just the lack of size was apparent throughout the entire night. Precious Achiuwa, he had a solid first half, kind of tailed off as the game went along. He finished with 15 points. He finished with 6 rebounds. And I know Hart finished with 10, and he had 9 defensive rebounds, but it just felt like an underwhelming effort still from Josh Hart. And then Precious Achiuwa just not giving enough. And then you had Bojan Bogdanovic getting minutes at the 5 in this game as well. Like, it just wasn't going to be a winning game. It just wasn't going to be a winning game. And it's just infuriating that this team is suffering so much from injuries. I would have rather seen Jericho Sims out there playing the 5 than Taj Gibson tonight. Like, I'm sorry, but I got to go in on him because it was just such a poor performance from him, and just in general from this Knicks team on the defensive side of the ball. Just embarrassing the way that they got just danced on all night in the paint. Danced on. It was just a problem. And like I said, the shooting from downtown, I don't know what happened. I mean, the first quarter, it kind of started off slow. They struggled from the start offensively too. And the tempo did kind of pick up a little bit, especially once the bench came in. The tempo started to pick up for the Knicks. But again, I think it was like after the first quarter, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, after the first quarter, Indiana had 26 points. I don't remember exactly the number, but I'm pretty sure like 20 of them or 19, something like that, were in the paint. You're just not going to win basketball games that way. It's just that simple. And then the second quarter, like I said, I was really amazed seeing the bench come in, add some scoring depth, but the defense wasn't really helping. Yet again, the paint was an issue. And then when they were trying to protect the paint, it opened up the three ball for the Pacers. And Taj Gibson, it was pretty much playing defense with four guys out there because Taj Gibson was just all over the place. And there was just no hope. And, the Knicks just weren't hitting enough threes as well. And it caught up to them eventually. Like I said, in the third quarter, when they didn't make a single three in that third quarter. And the defense just wasn't making stops until very late in the quarter, where they had a run where they kept the Knicks in the game a little bit. But once the fourth quarter came along, you just knew it was over because the defense didn't carry that over into the fourth quarter. They still weren't hitting threes until late in the quarter. And yeah, it just wasn't going to be a win, especially when you saw Hartenstein wasn't playing this game. It just was inevitable. And I just want to see this team healthy already. That's the main thing. And it was great to have Brunson return to the lineup, but they need a lot more still. And I'm so curious to see what they're going to look like healthy, because you look at how deep this roster is how deep they could be when they are healthy. I mean, Josh Hart, though, does need to step up as well. And then Precious, I thought, had an underwhelming night, like I said, after the first half. But you just look at this roster and, if Mitch comes back come playoff time, we know Randall's going to come back when OG comes back. And then when iHeart now comes back, that's going to make such a huge difference for this team. And it was nice not needing Deuce as much, but it would have been nice if he was hitting some of his shots a bit. He didn't hit a three tonight. He only got 2 attempts, but it would have been nice if there was some more shooting threat, more of a shooting threat there. But again, there just wasn't enough, and the offense just came in waves tonight. The defense just wasn't there pretty much the entire night. You're not going to win that way. At all. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on this game. Would love to hear from you guys. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe too. And yes, it is standing video. Why not? But Knicks lose 125-111, and I'll see you guys in the next one.